Welcome back, friends. And if you're new here, my name is Kim, and I just want to do a quick July garden tour. I'm out here in my rose bed right now. I've got some planters. I've got some coleus and some zinnias and some other flowers in them. I got some roses blooming. Sorry about the roosters. They can hear me out here. And there's some really pretty pink roses. And these were blooming, and it just finished up. There's still a peach flower right here. Peach rose. It's one of my favorite roses we've got. I just wanted to give you a quick July garden update. We have got lots of stuff growing. Got some lilies over here blooming. They are so pretty. But my garden is more of a jungle this year. I'm going to zoom out and kind of give you a wide view before I go over everything that's growing in here. We have squash, and there's gourds. Everything is growing up the trellises, making nice archways. So let's start over here. So these right here are yellow wax beans, and they have trellised all the way up this vine. They are over 8 feet now. Really, really tall. There's a bunch of green ones on here. Down here, there are some that I need to get picked. These are already yellow and ready to be picked. They are looking really well. I've got a whole row of carrots that are doing really well. In here, these are some Kentucky Wonder Beans, and they are just covered in beans this year. We are having a wonderful year for beans. Look at all those beans up there. I'm going to be picking beans in about 2 days, and I'm going to start canning them, and they are all the way up the trellis too, about 8 feet tall. So the beans are doing fabulous this year. Are you gonna get some kale, huh? Are you following me? She's in the garden, so she knows it's time to get her kale. Wanna take a bite? You want a bite? You can have it. She just loves her kale. There you go. Pick her a couple pieces of kale so she's happy. Pink it is her. She just loves her kale. Over here, these are my peas. They are done for the year. I'm just leaving some pods grow on there, so I have some beans for next year, or some peas for next year. This is the kale patch. It has taken over. And there are some more peas that I'm going to let dry on the vine there. Up here are the birdhouse gourds I'm growing this year. I can zoom in to show you. They are growing big. They are all the way up the trellis also. They are a good 8 feet tall and coming back down the other side. So I would say they're about 10 feet tall at this point. Right here is my butternut squash. It is just taken off, and it's also growing up the trellis now. And I've got a lot of butternut squash growing on here. There is one right there. They are getting pretty big now. About starting to grow. This one's kind of odd shape this year, but this one is the largest of the bunch. I've never had one grow that shape. I'm kind of wondering, because I have cucumbers, pickling cucumbers growing right next to them. Kind of wondering if maybe they're a mix of butternut squash and cucumber with the shape on there. So they are doing very well. There's another one over there. I'll show you that one when we get around that other side. There are some more pole beans. These are taking off. They are about 6 feet tall now. And they are also covered in beans. These are Blue Lake bush bean. So they are doing absolutely fabulous. These are pickling cucumbers, and I've been picking a little bit each day. They are growing everywhere in here. So we will have lots of pickles this year. I did lots of bread and butter pickles last year and lots of dill pickles. This year I think I'm just going to do just bread and butter. I don't think I need any dills this year. I think I still have enough, but they are climbing up the trellis. Fabulous. And over here, these are my onions. They fell over during the hailstorm, so I think I may just cut the tops off of them. They are bulbing, but they never stood up after that hailstorm we had back in, I believe it was May. They just never stood back up, so I think I'll probably just cut the tops off of them and let them keep growing. These are red onions right here. They are doing really well. Some basil. I need to get the tops picked off of them. I'm going to be doing a dehydrating video pretty soon. I'm going to pick some herbs and show you how I dehydrate them. There are some more green beans. I have green beans just growing everywhere this year. That's alright. We love our canned green beans. It's probably our favorite vegetable. Over here are some herbs. There's some parsley. It is doing really well. I need to pick that for dehydrating. Some oregano. I've got some strawberry plants that are huge. There are a bunch of strawberries in here. I'm not sure if my little friends, the squirrels, have gotten in here and eaten them. Oh, there's one more right there. They missed that one. So those are doing pretty good. Now, here is my... Sorry, I've got a chicken laying an egg. Here are my Brussels sprouts. They are not doing so good this year. The cabbage mobs have moved in and laid little caterpillars all over them. I saw a couple of them this morning. But they have eaten them, so I do not know if I will have Brussels sprouts this year or not. And back here is my blueberry growing. And I still want to thank that anonymous viewer that sent that from my Amazon wish list. That was very thankful. It was just said anonymous, so it is growing very well. There's some big giant zinnias right here getting ready to bloom. And in my blueberry pot here, the blueberry is doing blackberry. This blackberry is doing really well. I've got some more strawberries. There's one right there. And there's another blackberry. It's doing very well. A couple more strawberry plants. Now these are, I've just got these growing in a pot. I started these a lot later. These are just some Blue Lake bush beans. So those will probably start flowering out pretty soon. And let's get into the peppers. I'm excited about the peppers this year. This is my Mad Hatter pepper. These are the neatest looking peppers I have ever seen. Now, Teresa at Stringfield Ridge Farm sent these to me, the seeds. And I started them, I believe, in February. But aren't those just the neatest shaped peppers ever? They look like little hats. And they're supposed to be kind of sweet and kind of spicy. I've never tasted one, so they're getting really big, but the plants are just covered in them. So those are really exciting this year. I just love the look of them. And they call them Mad Hatters because they look like little hats. So those are really neat. And over here, I've got, oh, there's a jalapeno on the ground. Some marigolds blooming. These marigolds are going crazy this year. Excuse me. Lots of lilies. Aren't those pretty? They're just about done blooming now. And down here, we have got jalapenos growing everywhere. These are getting nice and big. Got some small ones, but the plants are just covered in jalapenos this year, which is a good thing. We can make some cowboy candy. Over here in this pepper bed, these are Sugar Rush peach peppers. They are doing very well too. There is a bunch of them. I can get in there and show you. Yep, there's a bunch of them growing. Over here are some Anaheim peppers. Aren't those big? We are having a really good pepper year this year. So all of those are getting nice and big. Plant back there is covered in them. There's Anaheims all over back there. More hanging back there. And another big one right here. And over here are some more marigolds. These marigolds I planted from seed this year. I saved seed from last year's plant. And they are twice the size this year. Here are some... Oh, mosquitoes are horrible out here this year. Here are some bell peppers that are doing very well. Back here on this plant, there are more bell peppers. Whew. If anybody has a suggestion for a good mosquito zapper, could you put it in the comments below? I am struggling out here this year. We have got mosquitoes everywhere. So if anybody knows of a good bug zapper I can buy, let me know in the comments, please. I'm getting ready to order one, and I'm not sure which kind to order. Back here are ground cherries. They are starting to grow really well. This is the first year I have ever grown ground cherries, but they are starting to do really well. There is also a nasturtium in that plant, or in that pot. And the honeysuckle is doing good this year. My clematis have finished blooming for the year. And over here are my giant squash plants. These things are monsters this year. I just noticed a couple minutes ago I've got a squash in here I need to get picked. These are... Ooh, mosquitoes are getting me. These are yellow squash. They are... I can move the leaves so you can see they are growing everywhere. And I just noticed there's a really big one hidden in here. It is a lot larger than I wanted it to let it grow, so I need to get that picked tonight. But this plant is growing like crazy. It's growing up the vine. Right next to growing up the vine is a pumpkin. And you can see these are just jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. You can see that they are starting to grow little pumpkins now. I thought there was a second one I saw in here. Yep, I know it was there. I'm not sure where it's at now. I saw it earlier. But yeah, they are starting to grow little pumpkins now. So. And it is just doing absolutely fabulous. This is my zucchini. And I will have to go around the other side to show you the zucchini that are growing, because they are just massive this year. Let me show you these peppers over here first. These are cayenne peppers. Just waiting for them to turn red. Look at all those peppers. They are just covered, and these plants are not all that big, but they are just covered in peppers this year. And next to them I have some Tabasco peppers. There's no flowers on those ones yet, but they should be starting soon. I'm starting to see some little buds. And more marigolds, which I almost think this year are attracting the mosquitoes. And here's some zinnias. And right here are cucumbers that are now trellising. They are looking really well. I just showed you those a couple minutes ago, but these are pickling cucumbers. I'll go to this side of the zucchini over here. I know there's a couple of them. They're not growing as fast as the yellow squash this year, but they are still growing. There is a nice size one right here. It should be ready in a couple of days, and there's a couple more little ones down there. There's another one right there. But these things are enormous this year. The plants are about 3 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. All that rain we had this spring has really helped out. Right here are a couple of mortgage lifter tomatoes that I've got in some pots. They are doing really well. We have not picked any tomatoes yet. We're getting excited. We're getting close. There are tomatoes growing, just not big enough to pick yet. So I'm excited about that. We should have tomatoes soon. And over here, this entire bed is all tomatoes. They are huge and just growing absolutely everywhere. I had noticed there are tomatoes in here. They're just hidden. There's some nice big tomatoes right there. These are getting to be a pretty good size. I believe these are mortgage lifters or beef steaks. I'm not positive. Actually, these ones right there are Rutgers. Here is some patty pan squash. I'll have to go around the other side to show you the patty pan over there. It's growing on the plant. But the tomatoes are now covered in tomatoes. Are you still following me, huh? Looking for more kale? Huh, Peanut? Are you looking for more kale? There's some more tomatoes here. There's a whole bunch of them back here. Now these are beef steaks. I know these ones are beef steaks. They are good. Here in this bed, there are some marigolds. They are getting really, really big. They are about 3 feet tall this year, about 2 feet wide. I planted those from the leftover seeds from last year, and they are just enormous this year, but they are pretty. They're not helping so much for the mosquitoes, so I'm going to get a bug zapper, I think. Okay, here is my celery. It is not real big yet. It is still going. It's about 18 inches tall now. But I'm noticing the ends of the leaves are starting to turn a little brown from the heat we're having. It's been in the really, really high 90s, close to 100 every day for about the last week. So I may go ahead and just pick those and chop them up and put them in the freezer before they start to turn too brown on me. Here is another trellis of some more Kentucky, or some pole beans. These are Blue Lake pole beans, and these things are enormous this year. They are 6 inches long already, just covered in beans. So we are happy with that because that is my favorite vegetable to can. And my husband and I will eat green beans at least a couple of times a week. We just eat them canned with a little bit of butter, or we can throw them in stir fries. So they are covered in them. I did pull my bok choy, and I got it in the freezer, and the chickens enjoyed the rest of it. Some of it started to bolt on me. Over here are my beets, and I'm getting ready to pick these so I can get some pickled beets made. There is a lot of them in here that are ready to be picked. There is a bunch in here. So I'm going to be working on that. You will probably see that video, maybe this weekend or next week. It's gonna take me a while. I gotta boil them and peel them and chop them and then can them. Here is butternut squash, and isn't that beautiful? Now this little butternut squash was only about an inch long last week. That's how fast they grow. Once they start growing, they just don't stop. And there is another one. They are just growing everywhere. And there are still more flowers. Lots and lots and lots of flowers. So we are going to have lots and lots of butternut squash. But those big ones were about this size last week. And now they are 6 and 8 inches long. So very fast growing. Very happy with those this year. Here is my gigantic kale bed for the chihuahua and the chickens. These are just enormous. They're about 3 feet tall now. They are just getting absolutely huge. Now here is my poor okra. This is the first year I've ever tried okra. And it's not doing so good this year. It's only about a foot tall. There is, it looks like one little itty bitty okra starting to grow there. Get this to focus. Oh, these mosquitoes are horrible. Definitely gotta order a bug zapper. So it is starting to grow. I don't think I'm gonna get enough to do anything with. Maybe have a little handful for a meal. Now, these are the peas I'm letting dry for next year. I'm going to save the pea pods, but there is a gourd growing up through the middle of them. It is a birdhouse gourd, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Look at these. Aren't those neat? They are just hanging everywhere. And this thing has probably got 20 or 30 little gourds growing. There's some baby ones right there. But there are little gourds growing everywhere. And I'm going to try to dry them this year. Last year I failed miserably. I grew them and then it frosted and they froze on me and they turned to mush. So, but this trellis is, these plants are probably a good 12 feet tall now. So you really, trellises work great if you're going to try to grow any kind of gourds. So maybe hopefully this fall I'll be able to show you how to dry these properly. I've been watching a lot of videos. If anybody's got any tips on drying them, how I do it, whether I leave them outside, whether I put them inside, it'd be appreciated, because last year I tried to leave them outside like everybody said, and they just, the snow snowed on them and they turned to mush on me, and then they rotted very quickly, so they got thrown away last year. Here are some peas. These ones are still pickable. These are shelling peas. We've got a bunch on here that are still edible, but there's a bunch on here that I'm going to let dry up, and I will have some pea seeds for next year. There's still some I can pick. The peas did absolutely fabulous this year. Here are some chives. These smell so good. We love these on baked potatoes or in stir fry. Back here is some garlic chives. Those are also really good on a baked potato. Now, I don't know if you watched my video, I think it was last week or the week before, on what did I do wrong with my cabbage? This year, my cabbage grew really, really well with all that great rain we had. But in my video, I kind of mocked my cabbage and I called them little cone heads, because all my cabbage are pointy. I'm not sure why. So if anybody knows why the cabbage are pointy, I mean, it's hard to see in the video, but they're nice and round down here, but they're really, really narrow and pointy at the top. So they're like little cone heads. Now this one is nice and round still, but the rest look like kind of like little tulips. They're really skinny and pointy. But the cabbage moths have invaded, and I've noticed a couple of days ago that I saw some of the little green cabbage worms on here. So I think I may just go ahead and pull these. It is getting really warm now for cabbage. But before the moths eat the rest of them, I think I'm just going to go ahead and pull them. I'll probably just chop them up, throw them in my freezer. And we'll call it good so the moths don't take over my cabbage. Here is some more peas that are growing that I'm just going to let these dry so I can have some seeds. Over here are more green beans growing. Now I planted these later. These were planted a couple weeks after the first ones you saw. So they are growing a little bit slower. Now these are my indigo pear. They're indigo pear drop tomatoes. They're supposed to be a yellow pear tomato and the top of it is supposed to be purple. They are growing fabulous. I thought they were going to be like a cherry tomato, so I put them in pots. Well, they are huge now, and they have got little tomatoes all over them. And they're supposed to be pear drop shape with a yellow with a purple. That's the indigo part of them, but they're called purple indigo pear tomatoes. I got these from Joe at Garden Stick Gardener. I won some seeds on one of his lives, and he mailed them to me, and I got them started from seed, and they are just looking fabulous. These are some more peas, and here there are more. Actually, these are peas. These down here are green beans. I plant my peas and my green beans together, so when the peas are done, I still have something that can grow up the vine. So the green beans will continue to grow the rest of the year until we get a frost. Over here is some cherry tomatoes that are growing really well. They're starting to get flowers, so we should have some cherry tomatoes soon. Here are some more marigolds. They are just so pretty. Here is patty pan squash. This one is doing really well. Now the one next to it, the hail got that one in the back. This one back here. The hail got it, and as soon as the branches were broken, it's like every bug in the neighborhood came to attack it. So I'm thinking because it was broke open and easy to eat that they just ate the whole plant. So I did have 2 of them in there, but that's alright because this one is doing fabulous. It's got flowers everywhere, so this will be enough patty pans. And there is actually a little patty pan growing right there. So it should be ready in a couple of weeks, hopefully. And some more tomatoes. There are tomatoes growing everywhere. I think this year I'm going to have a very good crop for tomatoes. These are more beef steaks. So they are doing really well. These plants are, well, they're taller than I am, and I'm about 5'1½". I'm kind of short, but these tomatoes are, they're about my husband's height, so just over 6 foot. So they are doing really, really well. And they are just so tall. And these ones are the same way. I put these in pots over here. And these are about 5.5 feet tall now. These are some mortgage lifters and some beefsteak tomatoes. I think my camera is fogging up. It's so humid out here. These are looking good, and we're getting tomatoes on those. There are some larger ones. Get back here. There are so many leaves on them. There's tomato trees this year. It's hard to see, but there's some really nice tomatoes. So I think we're going to have a wonderful year for tomatoes. But I just wanted to thank everybody for following along, and I'm hoping you're enjoying my June garden tour. It is taking off. It is a jungle out here, literally. Having to really watch where I walk because the plants are just absolutely taking over. But everything is looking very well and growing up all of these nice trellises out here. So I hope everybody enjoyed my garden tour, and if you have any tips about something for mosquitoes, because they are everywhere this year. They just don't stop this year. And look at, these are some new things I've got from Temu. They're like a fiber optic. They're solar powered and they glow in the dark. I just did a video on that if you want to it was called Grilling and Chilling, and I came out here and I showed the little lights what they look like. We were just barbecuing one night. Sun went down, and so those are really neat. They change different colors, but they are really neat to watch. But I'm hoping everybody enjoyed the garden tour, and I hope everybody's garden is growing big and huge and giving you lots of vegetables. So I just want to thank everybody again for joining me, and have a good day. I also got this from Temu. It's just a solar powered sunflowers. And I got some of those little cheap butterflies, and I just kind of put them in here in sporadic areas. Kind of make it a little whimsical, decorate my garden. But I had a little hummingbee the other day. Actually, was landing on one of these sunflowers, and I felt kind of bad because the poor thing was trying to eat from the sunflower, but it wasn't real, so I went over and found some other flowers, but that's all right. Oh, look, there's my little hummingbee right there, or my hummingbird right there. I don't know if I can zoom in and show you. He's sitting on... Hi, little guy. Sitting right there. Can you see him? Sitting right there. Oh, I'm gonna fly away. Yeah, he's gonna do it again. Look, he's over on. See if we can get this on the video. There he is. He's over on the flowers. He's so quick and hard to watch. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? But I just want to thank everybody for joining me on my garden tour. That little hummingbee is so quick. Look at him. Wish I could get closer, but I don't want to scare him away. So, but thank you again. He's sitting on the clothesline right here. There you are, huh, little guy? We need to get a hummingbird feeder. Okay, but anyways, let's get back to... I want to thank everybody again, and hope you enjoyed my garden tour. It has been a very nice year. This is all grown from seed. There is a video in May, if you want to watch that I explained how I grew everything from seed this year. Cost me less than $100 on all of my seeds. I didn't buy any plants, except I bought some strawberry plants this year because I lost mine in the bad winter we had. But if anyone wants to go watch that video, you can go watch it. It was a May garden tour. So, but I hope everybody's gardens are doing fabulous and growing you lots of vegetables. So happy gardening, and thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone.